Your positioning is the cornerstone of your brand direction. It is the anchor that holds everything together. It really is the most important piece of the direction puzzle. And sometimes we get way in over our heads trying to define our positioning. There are so many options. We go back and forth between so many things. Basically, we ask ourselves, what is my edge? What is my thing? And what's the thing that's going to connect the most with our market? So that's what we are discussing today, specifically how to use ChatGPT to surface the best positioning for you.
Do you want to be seen as the go-to in your industry, get more sales, easily attract new opportunities, but feel overlooked online? If so, you are in the right place. Hey, I'm Eugenia, but you can call me E. I'm a marketing strategist, a wife, and a new mom. I learned the secret of how to be seen as an authority and have people think of you for new opportunities and more clients. If you're ready to get clear on what makes your personal brand unique, build a magnetic presence online, and get more eyes on your business, this is your next move.
So I was talking to a client this week. He runs an agency for AI and automation, and I love to talk to him about just thinking through AI things and things we see in the news. And I've been seeing a lot about, we've entered the singularity. Elon Musk tweeted that a few weeks ago. And I always go to him and I love to pick his brain. And something he's said all the time and he keeps bringing me back to is that it's not that people or like AI is going to replace people, but people who know how to use AI are going to replace people who don't know how to use AI. So I'm not against AI. I'm not thinking that we should avoid it, that we should never let AI do the thinking for us, that we should only ask AI for recipes and recommendations for new restaurants. Like, I think there's such a valuable use for AI if you learn to ask the right questions and write the correct follow-up questions, because AI can, you can ask AI, give me a content strategy plan. But if you don't know what good content looks like, you are not going to know if what AI is saying is correct. And that is with every single aspect of your life, your business. You can listen to AI, but you don't know if what AI is saying is correct. So that's why we need people who know and have the criteria and understand the industry to challenge AI. So what are you an expert on? You are an expert on yourself. You are an expert on your experience. You're an expert on the things that make you unique. And sometimes, because you are inside the bottle, it's hard to read the label. So sometimes you are too close to the problem, and problem, I don't say it as in there's something wrong with you, but you're too close to the subject of study, which is yourself and your positioning. So something that ChatGPT is really great at is spotting patterns, spotting trends. It is so helpful to be your thinking partner and to help you identify those gray areas where you might be missing. So that's why I think it's so valuable to help you clarify your positioning, not from a place of, hey, can you pull my positioning out of a hat, but how can I take my brand reality, my story, my skills, and not have ChatGPT come up with my positioning, but help me clarify my positioning. So I'm going to guide you through a set of questions. This is not going to be necessarily the exact prompt, but just the goal of each question. And they have a structure for a specific purpose. But if you block, let's say, an hour to go through all of this, it's going to be incredibly revealing. So the first thing that you want to ask ChatGPT is, what are, in general, things that are holding you back? Basically, if you are a user of ChatGPT, if you've been using ChatGPT for a while, ChatGPT knows you. It knows your thought patterns, it knows your preferences, and it has been able to identify the areas that get you stuck, the areas where you need clarification, what type of questions you tend to ask. Like, it's so interesting, all the information that ChatGPT is able to gather. So this is a great question, just so that you understand what are the blind spots or gray areas, as I said, that you need to be aware of as you go through this process. And I love this question because choosing your positioning is not an absolute answer. This is not a math problem where 2 plus 2 equals 4. And eventually you're going to have certainty that 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you can double check that, like, your positioning is at the end a subjective decision that you have to make. So understanding what are the things holding you back in decision making and moving forward with your brand and your business is going to be helpful as you go through this process of using ChatGPT to get clear on your positioning, because it's going to reveal the things that you have to watch out for. Number 2, and yes, this is a shameless plug, but I promise there's a purpose for it. Go through my free bio builder. I have over 30 questions over there with prompts that you can use with ChatGPT to help you get clear on your bio, get clear on your positioning. And the types of questions that this questionnaire asks is, when did you start your business? What industry are you in? I start with those basic questions. And then, what is your zone of genius? Sharing 1 or 2 hallmark projects. Like, this is briefing ChatGPT about your business. And the great thing about this is that I'm not saying that you don't know the answer to these questions, but sometimes we need a specific and concrete question to get all of the answers in one place. So this document is going to be great for you. So at the end of that questionnaire, I have 7 prompts for ChatGPT that are really incredible for bios, for developing your tone and voice, because I want you to type everything as if you were speaking, so it really gets to understand how you speak. Result line, your one-liner. I mean, it is really helpful for so many things, but it is also helpful in creating your positioning. So after you go through it, and you can find this bio builder at freebiobuilder.com, and it's going to be linked in the show notes. I really that this is step 2 because I think it's that important. Then after that, ask specific questions towards positioning. So the next category is something around, if I were to start my marketing from scratch with everything you know about me, and you upload your questionnaire that you created on step 2. So those are 2 questions regarding marketing. First question, what is the problem I'm best suited to solve based on everything you know about me? So the questionnaire is going to include things like your background, educational background, certifications, qualifications, experience. Like, it's very, very thorough, so that then ChatGPT can tell you, okay, based on everything, you are equipped to solve this specific problem. And then the other question that you are going to ask regarding your marketing is, what is the strongest positioning that you see for myself? Again, don't take ChatGPT's word as Bible. Challenge ChatGPT. If ChatGPT says something that doesn't make a lot of sense, say clearly, I don't want you to be a yes man. I want you to challenge me if what I say is not coherent. For example, I say that a lot. So, go back and forth with ChatGPT, but this is the next line of questioning. Then, now that you know this in a hypothetical world, what ChatGPT would recommend for you, then you can say, this is my business. You can either paste your sales page or your homepage or your website. ChatGPT can go into a website and can actually read everything that you do. So that's super helpful. If not, you can tell it about your offer or your services. But you say, this is what I do. What about this thing, this thing that I say, that I do, that I've chosen? What about this can be confusing? So this is when you start using ChatGPT to challenge you, to challenge your thinking, to challenge your decisions. The next line of questioning is, give me pushback. What's wrong about making this my positioning? Now, if you're a person who tends to second guess everything, I want you to tread lightly here because I don't want ChatGPT to destroy you morally. But if to this point you are excited with a positioning and you feel like something works for you, I want you to start arguing back with ChatGPT about whatever they say. I want you to be able to defend your positioning to ChatGPT. Again, there's no arbiter of truth. So at the end of the day, is whatever you choose. But I want you to start feeling comfortable with your choices. And if you're able to hear criticism first or the arguments first against your choice, this is probably something that you're going to come up with and think about on your own. I want you to create the contra argument for when those conflicting thoughts come, or when people say, this is not something I would do, or sometimes we have business coaches and they're like, oh, I don't like that decision that you made. And sometimes they're right, but sometimes we need to be able to stand firm in our decision. So when we have an external entity basically criticize us and we are able to see that criticism and respond to it, and if I'm telling you, okay, tell me, like, how would you criticize this, and I'm able to go through your arguments and tell you why you're wrong, or maybe go through your arguments and say, okay, you might be right, but I don't care. That's an incredibly powerful exercise, because you start either being able to argument your decision to yourself, because you can be your worst enemy with overthinking, or you're going to just not care when you hear those arguments, either from yourself or from other people. And the last line of questioning is, what are the platform I'm best suited to test this positioning through content? So this is a year of Substack. That's what I'm seeing online. I really think this is a year for thought leaders to write their thoughts on like put them in writing, have a blog. But if Substack has the benefit of being a blog and a newsletter combined into one. You don't have to maintain a website, so that is wonderful. You literally just put your thoughts in paper or write them down and post them, and Substack takes care of distributing your information for you. It is really wonderful. With that said, I don't think I'll be going on Substack anytime soon because I don't have capacity for it. I feel pretty confident with the platforms I have right now. I have mainly this podcast, I have my newsletter, and I have Instagram. Those are the ones I'm paying the most attention to. But I can recognize that Substack could be an incredible opportunity. So after you've had all this conversation with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is also going to understand and start seeing how you reason through a lot of these things with it, ChatGPT is probably going to tell you, you would be great with video, given your background in broadcast journalism. And mind you, that was a very obvious answer. But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised with how precise ChatGPT can be with everything you feed it, with everything you give it, like the information you give it, the prompts you give it, and then the back and forth. The back and forth is super helpful for it to also learn a lot about you. So this is an exercise that's going to be so helpful. And sure, it might take you an hour. And a lot of people say, oh, you need to give solutions that are quick, simple, and easy. But to be honest, if someone tells you that you're going to be able to get clear on your positioning using AI in 5 minutes, I would run the other way, because you are not going to have consistent clarity that's going to stick. So this line of questioning is designed to help you understand how you think, your self-sabotaging patterns. It's designed to help you uncover your strengths, your things that make you unique, possible new combinations that you never imagined before. And then at the end, the goal is for you to start developing that strength in your own choices in your future. And sure, this is strength against other people's thoughts and opinions and fear of what other people might say, but I don't think that's your biggest problem. I think your biggest problem truly is yourself, your own overthinking, your own second guessing, and not because you are lazy, but because I think you are really smart, and I think you are really experienced, and I think you are very thoughtful. And I think that thoughtfulness and that smartness, if that's even a word, can sometimes play against you because you overanalyze decisions that are not absolute, decisions that are completely subjective, and some other people might have different opinions. So you are trying to have certainty 100% about something that by definition doesn't have it, because positioning is not really a repeatable quote unquote science. There are methods, there are frameworks. I think Minds is wonderful and it really helps and it's really simple. But to be honest, I'm not going to say that my frameworks are the same as math. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So use this episode, this line of questioning with ChatGPT. And if you want, send me a copy of your conversation on Instagram at Eugenia.wu, because I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear the feedback it gives you. I'm rooting for you. Seriously, take me up on that offer. Download my free bio builder. You are not going to regret it. Every person that has gone through that exercise has loved it. Like, they are obsessed. That's freebiobuilder.com, by the way, linked in the show notes. Until then, have fun, enjoy, define your positioning, get clarity with ChatGPT, and I see you back here very soon. Un beso.
I hope you loved today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and send it to someone who's ready to be seen as the go-to in their industry? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I love reading your comments. They remind me of those little notes you would send your friends in high school, you know? Okay, see you back here soon with the next episode. Un beso.